Mr. Tierney. I want to recognize myself. We've heard allegations about concerns raised by embassy staff and KBR about the quality of First Kuwait's work on the embassy complex guard camp. And given that this is the same company that is going to be responsible for the construction of the permanent buildings at the embassy complex, I'm also concerned about the quality of work on those buildings. We've learned that the State Department officials have had concerns about the design and construction of key systems at the new embassy. John Arsinsky, the Deputy Director for the Iraq Project Construction Office, has told committee staff that in reviewing designs prepared by First Kuwaiti, his staff identified concerns about the fire protection system, the HVAC system, the power plant that could have affected the operation of the embassy facility. This office is the part of the OBO dedicated to the embassy project. For example, there were concerns that under First Kuwaiti's design, there were not enough ductwork fans to evacuate smoke from a fire so that people could exit the building safely. Under First Kuwait's design, the wrong electrical materials for the fire alarm system would be used. Under First Kuwaiti's design, the electrical power system might not operate correctly when the building is fully up and running, which could lead to blackouts. And according to Mr. Archinsky, the Iraq Project Construction Office sent back the fire alarm system's designs to First Kuwaiti 3 times, and each time got back designs that did not address their concerns. General Williams, is there any reason that First Kuwaiti ignored proposed corrections to design flaws identified by your staff?
Well, I don't think they ignored them, Chairman Waxman. Let me just explain this process. There's always on these embassy compounds and, of course, and all the other construction that I've done, it's always give and take around designs and submittals and so on. We have an ongoing process where we invite the particular discipline that we might have concern about. In this case, it would be fire engineers. At my request, they made the normal visit out, and we want them to dig and look and turn over every rock. And I expect a report to come back identical to the way it came back, so that we can be more vigilant about it. We take that report, we use it as a quality assurance to make certain that things are done correct. But
well, I appreciate that.
But the real, if I could,
sure,
the real rites of passage, if you will, for everything that we build on an embassy is a accreditation process, which occurs, about to occur now on the new embassy. It will judge how the embassy was built, because prior to building, I think you know this, Mr. Chairman, we have to certify to the Congress that around a design, this is what we are going to build. So the accreditation team comes back at about the 98, 99% level and accredits that. That process will take place. There's no way to have or to put in place a new embassy compound that does not meet our specifications.
General,
there's a lot of give and take in it.
General, I appreciate that. But when the installation work began, the construction office conducted an inspection of the fire safety system and identified the following problems. The inspection determined that First Kuwaiti had installed the wrong size conduits in the alarm system that had to be fixed. The inspection determined that the pipes for the sprinkler system were not connected properly and could break apart under pressure. Are you concerned about these problems that your staff identified, or you just hope that when you do the accreditation it's going to be corrected? One of the documents we asked to see before this hearing was the fire safety report that documented the problems we've been talking about. Mr. Archinsky talked about this report in his interview with the committee staff, but this is being withheld from the committee. I don't understand why it's being withheld. Hiding bad news will not make bad news go away. It usually compounds the problem. So I want your response to this. Are you concerned about these problems that your staff has identified?
I'll be happy to, Mr. Chairman. I'm concerned about every single problem, and I think anyone who's been in an earshot of me for the last 6 years know this. I turn over most of these myself when I go. I'm looking for them. And anytime a report comes in to me, I ordered the fire people to go out, as I do on all of these, go out and take a look. I send electrical people out. I send mechanical people out, et cetera, et cetera. I want to be absolutely certain because there will be a accreditation process, and I want these things corrected. I have found with this contractor that there's never been any shyness on correcting what we bring to their attention. They want to get it right. They've tried very hard to get it right. They're not perfect. I've never seen a perfect project. There's always, when you're installing something of this magnitude, there are things that are not exactly the way they should be. And that's the reason we have these checkpoints in the process. We have a good process. And if you look at the 50 embassies that we have built, they will meet the test and the standard.
The guard camp went through the same process.
Now, guard camp is a temporary facility, is not subject to the rigor of a permanent facility.
I see.
So
the fact that that was all messed up with all sorts of problems shouldn't be taken as evidence that, one, you didn't have a process that worked, and two, the company that did that work shouldn't be held accountable for it or thought maybe would be doing poor work on the embassy.
No, Chairman Waxman. The company that built it should be held responsible for doing everything that they set out to do. And as I mentioned earlier, we have not paid them, so the government has no issue here. Any of these issues that we feel that clearly on First Kuwaiti's plate, they have been or will be taken care of. But as I said earlier, for someone who spent 2 years in Vietnam and lived in a camp, you never get a camp right. You constantly are doing things to it, and it's sort of in the eyes of who comes after you. So, but we do the best we can with it to make it work.
Well, my time has expired, but I just want to say that KBR complained that this wasn't being done properly. It still wasn't fixed. And then your own people went out and come back with the same problems. It still wasn't fixed. And I just think that that's an indication of a system that's not working the way it should. And that's why I'm asking all these questions. But it's Mr. Shea's time.
Is it possible for me to respond to that?
Certainly. Go ahead.
Our people, my people did not go back to the man camp and come back and say that things were not done. What I recall is I have 80 union workers on this project, all Americans. And to make certain that this camp electrical part was right.
Well, let me just say that I have a document that I'm sure you've seen, and it says, within this document are the results of the commissioning of the DS man camp on the west side of the new embassy complex in Baghdad, Iraq. As noted within the enclosed documentation, the camp meets and exceeds the requirements of Section C of contract, and then it goes through within the camp are the following structures, and it's certified. Well, I don't know what that's supposed to mean if it turns out they certify it and then it's not meeting those expectations.
Well, there is a punch list on every single piece of work that I think anyone has ever touched, and this was KBR coming in, and they looked at things, and we had, as my friend here said, some discussions about them, and we'll correct those that...
KBR came in after the punch list.
Yes.
So they came in after the punch list and said these things are not the way they're supposed to be. Okay. Mr. Shays.